That takes you back, doesn't it? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of beautiful Las Cruces. So wonderful to see you all this morning. Let's start with a couple of songs. If you'd like to stand, that'd be great. If not, that's fine. And yeah, let's sing.
We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. Joy, 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 together in joy. Joy, 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 together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together in peace. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves me and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. From every walk of life, every creed and color, in kinship we unite, in honor of the God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Woo! Good morning. Beautiful. Well done, everybody. Feel free to have a seat. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome. My name is Yvette Trujillo. I am a practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living, and it is my pleasure to be with you today. Here at the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, we are more than a Sunday service. We are so much more than a Sunday service. We are a growing, heart-centered community grounded in spiritual principles and open-hearted love. Does that resonate? That kind of feels like who we are, right? I caught that. So our vision here is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. And that begins right here and how we show up for one another. If you are here for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you found us. Please be sure to stop by the welcome table out in the social hall after service and pick up a little gift from us. Inside that bag, you'll find more about who we are, a book card, a bookstore gift certificate, and a way to stay connected through our newsletter. And to those of you joining online, hello, hello, beloveds. Welcome home. Welcome home. It's an honor to share this space with you all too. Thank you. So there's so much goodness unfolding and happening here at the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. So please be sure to check out your newsletter. And I've been working on the newsletter. It went out on time twice in a row. I'm so proud of myself. Woo! And I'm also thrilled to say that our administrative assistant, Meg Long, is returning from a month-long holiday. Who thought she could go for a month? But I'm so excited. Yesterday, or this late at the end of this last week, I looked at the calendar and I said, oh, Meg's almost back. Hallelujah. So I'm so, so grateful. And it has been an honor to step into her shoes. She left me beautifully set up, so there was very little to do. I managed to mess it up a couple of times, but thank you, Meg. All right, so please check out your newsletter. It's got some good stuff. Good things are happening. So let me tell you a couple of those things. What if you could train your mind like you train your body, right? But without the sweating, the spandex, and the sore muscles, right? And like when I started to do this and I was like, yeah, it's like exercising. I'm like, ugh. But without all of that stuff, that's the part of exercising that for me. So that is what Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns is going to be here to help us explore in her workshop. So she's going to be here on the 13th of July. Her workshop is The Power of Positive Intelligence. Change your thinking, change your life, right? It sounds like, oh, I know this stuff. I've been doing it for a long time. I've been doing it for a long time and I hear new stuff all the time. So this is a tune-up. This is a really great way for us to align ourselves, to realign ourselves with principle in the way that we live it in our own lives all the time. So again, Sunday, July 13th, right after service, well, go grab a cup of coffee and say hi, and then after that, come back in here. And we are going to be shifting mental habits and get in the way of our clarity, our calm and joy. It's deep, it's practical, and it will be surprisingly fun. So the workshop is $20, so we hope that you'll join us. I hope that you'll join me. I'll be here. And I think we're going to have a great time. Alrighty, so I'm also very excited to share something with you today. Starting Thursday, July 17th, I will be leading my first offering here at the center, and I would love it if you would join me. So I'm going to be doing a Soulful Summer Circle, and it is a 4-week brown bag book study. There's a lot of alliteration here. Soulful Summer Circle, and a brown bag book study on one of my all-time favorites by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. So we'll meet on Thursdays from 12 to 1:30. So if you happen to be free then, I would love it if you could join me and join all of us as we're doing all of this. Now, don't worry, it's not going to be high pressure. This is supposed to be uplifting and light. I will have some exercises that you can do during the week, but it's not required. So bring a brown bag lunch, bring your spirit, bring your open heart, and let's get to know each other a little bit better around this beautiful teaching of the 4 agreements. There's a sign-up sheet out in the social hall. So you're welcome to fill that out. And if you don't, that's fine. You wake up on the 17th and you're like, I want to go do that book study. Just join us. That's okay too. I believe that there is one more copy in our bookstore. So there were 2. Somebody snagged one of them this week. So there's one more if you want to grab it there. Otherwise, a lot of us already have copies. Maybe check with your neighbor. If they don't happen to be coming, you can borrow their book. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit now. Here at the center, we believe in the power of prayer, what we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. So if there's something on your heart, we invite you to fill out a prayer request card, and you can find those in the seat backs in front of you, or you can reach back and ask the person behind you if you're sitting in the front row. And you can fill those out and drop that card. We have a beautiful prayer box at the back table, at the back of the sanctuary. You can drop it there. You can also drop it in the offering plate as it goes by a little later in the service. And you can also always submit a prayer request on our website at csl-lascruces.org. So anytime you need prayer, we love praying for you all. It is a powerful thing because whenever I get to pray for you, I'm praying for myself. It is a really beautiful, powerful thing. So your request will be lovingly held by our prayer team. And this is a group of ministers and licensed practitioners from all 4 local New Thought communities. So it is a powerhouse of people that are getting together and praying over your request. So if you'd like one-on-one prayer, that's also available today after service. Look for a practitioner wearing, I forgot to put my stole on again, a turquoise stole. We've got Judy, and I'm definitely here, so if you want to have prayer, I don't know, Bob, you're busy. You got stuff going on. You've got stuff. Oh, but he's got time for prayer. He's always got time for prayer. So if you would like some prayer, a quick mini treatment, please let us know. We'd be happy to pray with you. And we also love good news. So there's also gratitude cards in the seat backs. That's how it is, seat backs. So please feel free to fill out the good things that are happening, and we love to celebrate with you. So we'd love to do that. So now it's time for our period of song, silence, and prayer. Thank you, Sarah.
Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. My heart is here to serve. Wherever love is leading me, I will go, I will go, I will go. Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever Spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be. Here I stand. My heart is here to serve. Wherever love is leading me, I will go, I will go, I will go. I will be, I will be, I will be.
Divine Spirit, that power and presence that is right here and right now, moving and having its way, breathing each and every soul that can hear my voice, beating each of our hearts. How wonderful it is to remember. How wonderful it is to turn my attention to the truth that God is right here and right now, moving and breathing and having its way through all of life, through all of creation. This is our opportunity to remember that truth. Because it's not just true right here and right now in this sacred space, it is true in every moment of our experience. Through the good, through the things that we call bad, through the challenging, through the joyful, through those things that uplift us and have us dancing and singing, God is indeed right in the midst of that. It is in the midst of our tears, in the midst of our pain. God is. And so as I remember the absolute, perfect presence of God right here and right now, I know that this time together, this service is unfolding in divine right order. Everything that happens today is right on time. There are no mistakes. How good it is to remember that. And so as I know that to be the truth of our time together, I simply relax. I can relax and allow Spirit to guide and to reveal the beauty of this time, of this service, and of each amazing individual that makes it possible and that brings it all together. Thank you, sweet Spirit. And together we say, and so it is. What I realized just before I went into prayer is that because I've been a little bit distracted this week, I'm totally making an excuse. I did not request a reading. So that's perfectly fine. It all works out. Keith, our guest speaker, who I will be introducing formally in just a moment, has written a lot of really cool things. I saw the books on the table out there. So there will be plenty for you to take in and read, should you choose. So I will simply take a seat and invite Doug to come up with and share his beautiful music.
Thank you, Yvette. I want to tell you a little bit about this song I'm going to play for you. The story is, well, I grew up in El Paso, long time ago, back in the 1900s. And I went to UTEP, and when I got out of UTEP, I went to California in my Volkswagen van with my instruments and my guitar and my fiddle and my harmonicas and a bag of granola. And I went to San Francisco. I didn't know anybody. I knew nobody there. But after a few months, I met this woman named Malvina Reynolds. And we both played at a party, and the same party, and she she invited me over. So I went to her house in Berkeley, and it was a great experience meeting her. She was an old lady. She was probably in her 60s or something, and I was in my 20s. And one thing she's Malvina Reynolds is a lady that wrote little boxes made of ticky-tacky on the hillside. And she wrote that song, "Where are you going, my little one, little one?" That was one of her songs. And she gave me a published book of her songs. And when I left, she called out as I was going out the door, "Sing my songs." And I took the book, and I intended to do that, but at the time it wasn't really on my career path, which was, a rock star. But I finally started learning her song, and this is one of her songs. Maybe you've heard it. Feel free to sing along. So, Malvina, I'm singing your songs. Love is something if you give it away, you give it away, you give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Love is like a magic penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it, and you'll have so many. They'll roll all over the floor. For love is something if you give it away, you give it away, you give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Money's dandy and we like to use it, but love is better if you don't refuse it. It's a treasure and you'll never lose it unless you lock up your door. For love is something if you give it away, you give it away, you give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. So let's go dance until the break of day. If there's a piper, then we will pay. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. For love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. One more time. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Thank you, Malvina.
I love the story. That was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doug. Doug, you are always such a joy. You bring such light and levity to our community. Thank you. Thank you. All right, my friends, we have today a wonderful, wonderful gift of a brand new guest speaker here at the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. Today, joining us is Keith Giles, like Jesus, not Keith Giles, Keith Giles. And Keith is the best-selling author of the 7-part Jesus series and the Sola series, which examines the beauty of the divine mystery. And he has been interviewed, he's fancy. Hold on, he's real fancy. He's been interviewed on CNN with Anderson Cooper, Coast to Coast Radio with George Noory, USA Today, BuzzFeed, and John Fugelsang Tell Me Everything. His latest book, The Quantum Gospel of Mary and the Lost Gospel of Truth, released on May 20th, and his previous book, The Quantum Sayings of Jesus, Decoding the Lost Gospel of Thomas, has been #1 on Amazon for more than a year. We are so blessed. He currently co-hosts the Heretic Happy Hour podcast. The Heretic Happy Hour podcast. How fantastic is you? We are all in the right space. And his solo podcast, Second Cup with Keith, he now lives in El Paso, Texas with his wife, Wendy, and blogs regularly at Patheos at KeithGiles.com. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Keith. Just give me a second.
Oh, yeah, okay. Can you make it? All right. Thank you so much. I am definitely in the right place. I also have to say, when you were telling your story, I also grew up in El Paso, Texas, graduated from UT El Paso, moved to California. I went to Orange County, you went to San Francisco. Also with the hopes of becoming a rock star. Very grateful that that didn't happen, actually. But anyway, so good to be here with all of you. And I hope you guys know, I was talking to Bob before the service, like, I genuinely feel like this congregation, and I visited several other congregations like this one over the last year or so, throughout around the Southwest. And I've got to say, you guys are the best kept secret. You know, I've only recently in the last year or so kind of discovered this whole kind of new thought kind of thing. And I don't know where you guys have been all my life, but I'm so glad I have found my tribe. So thank you so much. I want to talk to you this morning about what I call the quantum sayings of Jesus from the Lost Gospel of Thomas. When I first read the Gospel of Thomas, this is probably like 5 years ago, I thought it was nonsense, that it was gobbledygook. I probably didn't make it even halfway through it, and I just kind of tossed it aside like, this is stupid. But about 3 years ago, I was getting ready to catch a flight. Someone literally, I don't even know who did it, out of the blue, I got a package in the mail. Someone mailed me this book about the Gospel of Thomas, and since I was going to catch a flight the next day, I threw it in the bag, read it on the plane, and that book completely changed my perspective on the Gospel of Thomas. And what this author showed me that I couldn't see before was that the way to make sense, like the reason why I read Thomas and it made no sense to me, was that you have to read it through this perspective or through a lens of that everything that Jesus is saying in the Gospel of Thomas is all about something about our shared divinity and our shared humanity, that there's no separation. And if you read it through that lens, it makes perfect sense. And so I went back to test his theory, and, well, what do you know? He was right. And so that's why I wrote the book, The Quantum Sayings of Jesus. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about this morning, about what I have learned about the Gospel of Thomas and the sayings of Jesus from the Gospel of Thomas. The year was 1945, and two men were desperately searching for lost treasure in the hot desert sands of Egypt, hoping to find something valuable to help them take care of their mother while they were in prison, because less than 24 hours previously, they had chased and killed the man responsible for their father's murder in that same Egyptian desert. Suddenly, as they were digging, their shovel hit something solid. They quickly shifted to digging with their bare hands, and soon they found a large 4-foot-tall sarcophagus. No, actually, a jar. And it was still intact. It was still sealed tight. At first, the man and his younger brother were too afraid to open it. What if it's a genie? What if it's cursed? But then one of them whispered, what if it's gold? So taking a deep breath, the older man raised his shovel and broke the seal at the top of the jar. And they didn't know it at the time, but what they found that day was the greatest archaeological time capsule of lost ancient text ever uncovered. The place was Nag Hammadi, Egypt. The treasure contained, among other things, the lost Gospel of Thomas, and the man with the shovel's name was Muhammad Ali, not the heavyweight boxer, but that was his real name. And the Gospel of Thomas was just one of the lost texts discovered by Muhammad Ali and his younger brother in that cave in Egypt back in 1945. Included in that time capsule was also the Gospel of Truth, Thunder, Perfect Mind, the Apocrypha of John, and over 30 other lost ancient texts. Before this discovery, we only had fragments of the Gospel of Thomas from quotations by early church fathers over the centuries to prove that such a thing even existed. But once the text was uncovered, translated into English finally in 1950, and published in 1975 for the rest of us to read, the words of Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas finally came into focus. So let me begin by clearing up, first of all, a few misconceptions about the Gospel of Thomas. I want to say what it's not. It is called the Gospel of Thomas, but technically it isn't a gospel. When we think of the Gospels, we think of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John from the New Testament, and those Gospels typically are stories. There's a narrative, right? There's a birth part of it. There's a little bit of the life, the early life of Jesus. Then there's the disciples, there's, the ministry, the miracles, the parables, and then at some point there's a crucifixion and there's a resurrection and some discussion about a second coming. The Gospel of Thomas contains absolutely none of those things at all. And technically it's also not a Gnostic text. Many people assume that it's called a Gnostic text, but it is not truly a Gnostic text. Gnosticism specifically is really more like, I'll be honest, I think it's personally a little wonky. It includes a lot of weird kind of things. And Thomas doesn't include any of these references to demigods and archons and all kinds of other strange things. So that's what it isn't. Let's talk about what it is. The Gospel of Thomas is really basically just a collection of the sayings of Jesus. There are 114 sayings of Jesus. That's all it is. Saying 1, Jesus said. Saying 2, the disciples asked a question, and Jesus said, Jesus said, Jesus said. That's all it is. Half of those 114 sayings already appear in the Gospels we already have. But the other half are completely brand new and never seen before. So how did it get buried in the first place, and why was it suppressed, and why doesn't it appear in our Bibles today? That's a long story. I wrote a book about it, but I'll give you the short version. The short version of that is there were, I guess we have to dispel, again, another myth. There's sometimes that we have the idea that when we talk about first century Christianity, early Christianity, we were talking really only about one group of people. There was one Christianity. But what scholars are telling us and historians are showing us now, and these kind of texts are revealing, is that we actually need to talk about the plurality. There were Christianities. There were many, many different groups of people in the early church who all would have said, I follow Jesus, but didn't all agree on exactly who Jesus was and what he said and what it meant to be a follower of Jesus, okay? So there are different kinds of streams and different kinds of sort of brands of early Christianity. And one of those brands, what we now call the Orthodox or the Proto-Orthodox Christians, people like Irenaeus and Tertullian, Origen, and those guys. That faction, that group of Christians, didn't really like other Christians, especially the ones that threatened them or they felt like that sort of threatened their version of what it meant to follow Jesus. And so Irenaeus was one of the first church fathers in 170 AD who disagreed with other early Christians, like another guy, his name was Valentinus. And Valentinus and his followers favored a kind of way of following Jesus and understanding Jesus that, frankly, we would probably more agree with and align with. But because they didn't agree with what Irenaeus and those other guys were saying, they were opposed. And those Valentinian Christians had certain texts that they preferred. One of them was the Gospel of Thomas. And so this tension between these two factions continued for hundreds of years until 340 AD, when under the rule of Emperor Constantine, now with the authority of the Roman Empire behind them, some church fathers who were on Team Irenaeus, and this guy's name was Athanasius, he wrote a letter Again, now he's got the authority of Rome behind him, and now he can sort of exert that authority over these other Christians they don't agree with. And he wrote a letter, it's called the Easter Letter, warning the bishops, seminaries, monasteries, and church groups to stop using, to no longer use specific texts in their sermons or church services or messages. And one of those texts was the Gospel of Thomas. Now, what that should tell you is, up until 340 AD, Christians were using and referring to all of these other texts, including the Gospel of Thomas. But when that letter came, most of the Christians responded by saying, okay, and they burned and destroyed that list of texts. One brave, creative soul in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, instead of destroying them and burning them, decided to bind them all up, put them into a 4-foot jar, and seal it, and take it out to the desert and bury it, where it sat until this man and his brother dug it up. So what is the big deal? Why is the Gospel of Thomas so important today? Well, I would argue, and this is my firm belief, I believe that in the Gospel of Thomas, what we have is what I call the answer to everything. Certainly the answer to what is one of the biggest problems we are currently facing today. I don't know about you, but every day that I wake up into a world that is very divided. It seems like everything in the media, everything on social media, everything on the news is all about creating this idea of an us versus a them, right? If everyone was just more like me, the world would be a better place, right? But we're not, and we don't agree. And so it's, politically, religiously, even between men and women, even between families, right? This division it's just this constant thing. All we're getting all day, every day, is this idea that we should be separated. We should buy into this idea of an us and them. And so this is, politically, religiously, socially, everywhere we turn in the news, we see all day long examples of how divided we are and how divided we should be. And war and genocide and protests and violence and political fear-mongering, this us versus them is literally everywhere. Christians versus atheists, Democrats versus Republicans, Jews against Muslims, men against women, and even families torn apart. And I don't know about you, we can feel this. I can feel it. This division and this separation that surrounds us, being torn apart. But what if that's not reality? What if we are actually more connected than anybody wants us to believe? Now, our senses tell us, right, that we're all separate. I'm me and you're you. And, there's all these we're separate people. And I am not you and you are not me, and I'm not this microphone or this podium or whatever, right? There's all these separate things. Everything that we see and taste and touch and feel reinforces this idea that everything and everyone is separate. But here's something really fascinating. Now, you already know this, but I'm going to talk about it from a different perspective than maybe you've heard. Did you know that scientists, quantum scientists, now know for a fact that this idea of separation is actually an illusion? Quantum scientists are now saying the way we have perceived reality to this point is wrong. Things appear to be separate, but the truth is every person, every object, every molecule and atom, everything in the universe is actually the expression of one thing. Now, they would say it is the quantum field. They literally will say the quantum field is everything, and everything is the quantum field. And so we appear to be separate and distinct from one another and everything else, but the truth is, and again, quantum physicists are saying this, we are all expressions of the one quantum field. Now, what's really significant about this is prior to the recent discoveries of quantum physicists shifting this mindset. If you go back, way back, right, Newtonian physics, and there's always been, and we know this tension between science and faith, or science and philosophy, right, or theology. And again, science before the advent of quantum physics, was of the opinion that the only thing that was real was what we could measure, right? physical objects, matter, atoms, molecules, things that we could see and touch and measure. But the pushback from the theologians and the philosophers to that idea was to challenge the scientists and say, okay, if that's true, then explain to us how, using only your scientific ideas, how does consciousness arise in human beings? If we're just matter, where does it come from? How does consciousness give rise to matter? And why only in us? Why not in giraffes or carrots or, bowling balls, right? Well, of course, science had no answer for that question, but there was this tension for the longest time. This question that could not be answered. How does consciousness arise from matter if matter is all that there is in the universe? So here is what really is fascinating. The more quantum physics began to look at the nature of reality, what they realized was that they were asking the wrong question. In other words, well, I'm going to read a quote. And this is a quote from Sir James Jean, who's one of the leading quantum physicists. This is a quote from the journal called Nature, published in England. It's one of the most prestigious scientific journals. And in an article writing about what they are discovering, again, a scientist writing to scientists about what they're discovering about the universe through quantum physics. And this is how Sir James Jean ends this article. He says this: "We can no longer think of the universe in terms of a great machine, meaning matter. Instead," he says, "we must begin to describe the universe as a great thought or consciousness." And in that statement, what Sir James Jean has essentially admitted is that we were asking the wrong question all the time. Instead of asking, how does consciousness arise from matter? What we should be asking is, how does matter arise from consciousness? That consciousness is the building block of the universe. That even atoms and molecules have a measure of consciousness. And that everything is one thing, and that there is no separation. And so this concept of separation is truly an illusion. Now, what I find so fascinating is, this is exactly what Jesus says 114 times in the Gospel of Thomas, that we are not separate, that we are connected. One of the key sayings from the Gospel of Thomas is saying 22, and I think it's the most obvious, because some of the sayings are kind of like parables, and you have to kind of like, okay, what does he mean by that? Saying 22, it's pretty out there in your face. So I want to read from that, saying 22. It says, "Jesus saw infants who were being suckled, and he said to his disciples, 'These infants being suckled are like those who enter the kingdom.' And they said to him, 'Shall we then become infants to enter the kingdom?' And Jesus said to them, 'When you make the two one, and when you make the inside as the outside, and the outside as the inside, and the upper as the lower, and when you make the male and the female into a single one, so that the male is not male, and the female not female, when you make eyes in place of an eye, a hand in place of a hand, a foot in place of a foot, an image in place of an image, then you shall enter the kingdom.'" In other words, these ideas of inside, outside, upper, lower, male, female, us, them, are illusions. The reality, the truth of the universe is we are all one and we are all connected. What Jesus was trying to teach us in the Gospel of Thomas is exactly what quantum physicists are saying today, that we have a shared divinity and a shared humanity. We are not separated from one another. We are connected. We are not separated from the great consciousness of the universe, and they can use the word consciousness. You might use the word Christ or God or Spirit, but it's the same idea. And by the way, I always have to tell my friends, by the way, I'm a recovering Southern Baptist, so every time I talk about these kind of things, there's always a little voice in my head saying, but Keith, what about this sounds strange, this sounds weird. Actually, not at all. In fact, all of these kinds of teachings, you can find them, and I point them out in my books. Jesus says these kinds of things. Paul says these kind of things. They're just not emphasized, right? But they are there. And to think about it this way, one of the earliest, probably if not the first, maybe the second earliest Christian document ever written was written by the Apostle Paul. And it was a letter that he wrote to the church in Galatia. Now imagine, if you can, it's early days of Christianity. You're in this church in Galatia. A letter comes from this Apostle Paul. Oh, wow. Paul sent us a letter. Wow. And Paul, and again, this is one of the first writings ever that we have in Christianity, in the history of Christianity. And Paul says something in this letter to this Galatian church that is either the most mind-blowing, shocking thing they have ever heard in their life. What are you talking about, Paul? Or it is so normal and obvious that everyone says, well, duh. Either way, this is what Paul says. He says that now in Christ, there is no male or female, rich or poor, slave or free, old or young, gay or straight, fill in the blank. Why? Because we are all one, he says, in Christ. And so Paul is affirming something, like I said, that either made them go, what? Or made them say, yeah, we know. That's exactly right. But one of the earliest teachings of the Christian church was this idea that separation is an illusion. And by the way, not only does Jesus know this, not only does Paul know this, so does every other mystic for the last several thousand years, right? Buddha, Socrates, Rumi, St. Teresa of Avila, the Desert Fathers and Mothers, Black Elk, Meister Eckhart, and so many others all know this exact same truth, that we are all one and we are not divided and we are not separate. And this is why it's so important for us to understand this, because once we realize this, once we realize that we are all connected, we can finally begin to do what Jesus said, which was to love our neighbor as ourselves. Because when I see my neighbor, I don't see an other, I see myself. This is how I can actually learn to love my enemy, because when I see my enemy, I don't see an enemy, I see God in that person, the divinity reflected back to me. This is why I say I believe this idea is the answer to everything. It's an end to poverty, to racism, to war, by realizing the truth that we are all part of the same quantum field, divine image, whatever you want to call it. And this message Jesus speaks to us in the Gospel of Thomas, again, it's not anything new. One of the most astounding things that Jesus says in the Gospel of John, I think has been misunderstood. And for most of my life, I think I misunderstood it. He said something that I was told to understand it as Jesus is saying something to his disciples that's only true about him. But I think if you read it with an open mind, what you will see he's saying to the disciples is, he says this. He starts by saying, listen, guys, one day you're going to realize this, meaning you don't get it yet. One day you're going to have this aha moment. You're going to say, and you're going to get it. Here's what it is. I am in the Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. And each of us needs to have that exact same revelation. Each of us individually needs to one day say to ourselves, I am in the Father, and you are in me, and I am in you. And that is where it all starts to happen. And so, again, this is something that the Apostle Paul also affirmed in the book of Acts. And what I find fascinating about this statement, in fact, you have referred to this statement several times this morning. Paul is in Athens. He stands up and he's speaking to idol-worshiping pagans, not a Christian in sight. And he says to these idol-worshiping pagans something, again, so profound. He says to them, God is your Father, meaning you are the children of God. And then he says to them that this God that you don't know, this God, this unknown God you haven't encountered yet, he says, this God is the one in whom we all live and move and have our being. So this message of Jesus, uncovered in the lost Gospel of Thomas, isn't foreign to the scriptures or the other Gospels, but it is a little scandalous. Because the idea that we're all connected challenges every post you're going to read on social media and every news story you hear on television, and many sermons you might hear on a Sunday morning. Jesus tells us that we are all expressions of the divine image, that we are not separate, that we are one. And this message Jesus gives us 114 times in the Gospel of Thomas. It's a message that's been buried for over 1,000 years, but it's always been available to us in the wisdom of the mystics. I want to read just a few quotes from some of my favorite mystics who affirm the same idea. Buddha says, "He who experiences the unity of life sees his own self in all beings." Black Elk, the Native American mystic, said, "Peace will come to the hearts of men when they realize their oneness with the universe. It is everywhere." Julian of Norwich says, "We are not just made by God, we are made of God." Teresa of Avila says, "Christ has no body now but yours." Rumi says, "Everything in the universe is within you. Ask all from yourself." The I always get this wrong. Bhagavad Gita says, "He lives in wisdom who sees himself in all and all in him." Gandhi said, "I believe in the absolute oneness of God and therefore also of humanity." And one of my favorite mystics of all time said this, "The human being is part of the whole, called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical illusion of consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty." And that mystic's name was Albert Einstein. And so this is why I call the wisdom of Jesus from the Gospel of Thomas the answer to everything. I genuinely believe if humanity, if the human race can finally truly embrace the truth of the reality of this vision as a human species, it will bring us to a place of peace and unity that we have been yearning for thousands of years. And I believe today this is where the universe is taking us. I believe this is where spiritual wisdom has always been pointing us to. And I believe it is also expressed best in these two terms, Ubuntu and Namaste. Ubuntu is an ancient African proverb that says, "I am because you are." And Namaste, as you probably know, is an ancient Sanskrit phrase that means, "The divine in me recognizes the divine in you." These two sayings encapsulate the truth that there is no separation between us and the divine, and therefore no separation between you and me and everyone else. That we are all one in Christ, and Christ is all and is in all. We are all filled with the fullness of God, who fills everything in every way. And my prayer is that one day we can all wake up and know this deep down in our hearts. And that, because I believe that message, if we really embrace it, we'll begin to live into it. And that would change us. And if it changes us, I believe it would change the world. Because the world won't change until we change. So I end today with this blessing to all of you, Ubuntu and Namaste. Thank you.
Keith, thank you so much. That was heady, right? I felt like I was in a class in college, and also so deeply and profoundly spiritual. Thank you for joining us. And so I invite you all to join me in prayer as we anchor in all of this beautiful learning and inspiration that we have been blessed to receive today. And so again, stepping into that conscious awareness that we started our time together this morning, the awareness that Spirit is right here and right now. But that ever-present energy, consciousness, vibration of the one life is in, through, and as all that has been created. Right now, The allness, the fullness, the joy, the brilliance, the genius of Spirit is in everything right now. God is. I am. God is. I am. And I know that that is the truth for every person that can hear my voice right now. The recognition that God is indeed expressing itself so beautifully and uniquely as each one of us. And as I remember that, as we so beautifully learned today and had reinforced our understanding with the power of science, with the power of history, with the wisdom of our early spiritual mothers and fathers, we are indeed grounded in the profound knowing that we are God in form, expressing, infused by the goodness and joy and love and wonder of Spirit. And so as we remember this, as we know this to be true, as we hear this and begin to embody it more deeply and understand it more deeply, I know that we move forward into our week, into the days ahead of us with something new, with some metal in our spine, stepping forward with the wisdom of who and whose we are. And that we live from that place, we be from that place, we engage from that place, and we see one another. Indeed, we see the entire world as a connection to who we are. And how differently do we do life from that place? I am so deeply grateful for this knowing, for this philosophy, for this truth, for this understanding, where we can indeed step into our beauty and our power and the knowing that we are one. My siblings in spirit, we are one. I'm so grateful for this knowing. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to remember the truth of who I am, who each of us are. And so from this place of gratitude, and knowing that my word is infused with the creative power of the divine, I freely surrender my word. I surrender it into the law that says, yes, my beloved, yes. You got it. And it is done now. Now, thank you, God. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. I welcome Doug Adams back to the stage. Thank you.
You can relax now. Come on and open your eyes. Breathe deeply now. I am with you. Oh, my sweet, sweet child. Do You know who you are. You are a child of God that will never change. You had a dream. You misunderstood. You thought you were separate. But now you hear my voice and you can relax now. Come on and open your eyes. Breathe deeply now. I am with you. You are the love of my life. Who do you think you are? You are eternity, and that will never change. You had a dream. You misunderstood. You thought you were separate. But now you hear my voice and you can relax now. Come on and open your eyes. Breathe deeply now. I am with you. Oh, my sweet, sweet child. Who do you think you are? You are the child of God, and that will never change.
What a day. Thank you. Wow, this day has been such a gift. I'm weepy. I can't read what I'm supposed to say. I just want to express my profound gratitude for the gifts that we've received today of wisdom and music, and my heart is so wide open, and I hope that you all will join me as we begin to move into our time of giving back to the spiritual community that provides such richness, such depth. What a gift it is to be a part of this community. And so I want to remind you all that when you do give to the center, we do donate back to a nonprofit here local to Las Cruces. We give back 10% of offerings to support the good work that the people of this city are doing for one another, for each of us. And we continue to offer our gifts this month to La Casa. And we have who they are, their mission and vision to support everyone affected by domestic violence, and their vision, a just and safe community free from violence and abuse. And it is our honor to be a donor to this profound organization that is doing good work in the world. So I'd invite you to please join me before we begin to pass our plates in the room in affirming in our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive Thank you, God, in me. And so it is. Sarah.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And from this place of recognition that indeed we are so blessed in every moment when we turn our attention to the goodness of life that is unfolding in every aspect of our being, in our engagement in this beautiful world of distinction. We are indeed blessed. And so I'm so grateful for the generosity and the blessings that each and every person here today has offered to this beautiful Center for Spiritual Living. It enables us to continue to do this work, to deepen, to enrich, and to go out into the world and be the goodness of God. Thank you, sweet Spirit. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. Was that it? Was that the thing? That was okay. Then we moved so quickly into the singing again. I'm like, is there more? No. Okay, so together we're going to sing a song. What are we singing, Sarah?
Go out and shine.
Go out and shine. So if you would join us in standing to sing our closing song. I'm saying your stuff again, Sarah. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Give me a mic. I can't stop.
Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Step out and take a chance. Walk the talk, join the dance. Relax, enjoy the ride. Let kindness be your guide. You gotta go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. One voice, one hand, one heart. Wanna change, make a start. We're one big family. What's good for you is good for me. Come on and go out and shine your light. You know the time is right. You gotta go out and shine your light. Go out and shine. Go out and shine. Go out and shine.
Remember, we're here for prayer, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And join Keith Giles out in the social hall. He's got his fantastic books for sale. Have a beautiful week.